we go. At the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on a roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on a roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On a roll, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, Candle Mafia? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Guys, I had the music muted. I'm seeing everybody saying, hey, what's up with the music? No music. Where's the sexy intro? And I'm over here just jamming by myself. I'm like, what's going on? I look over. The music was muted. That is my fault. But we got it at the tail end of the intro there. But what is going on, Candle Mafia? Thank you all for tuning in to today's live stream. We got a lot to talk about as Bitcoin continues to move to the downside. Are we about to see much lower prices for Bitcoin? Should you be holding on for a more steep ride, or are we going to get a bounce from where we're at? And if not, how much lower can we go? What are those key levels? We have some really, really saucy TA for you guys today. So smash up that like button. Every 100 likes we get gets you guys a spin on the wheel of pain and pleasure, which we are now going to consolidate to Fridays. We're not going to do it every single stream. We're going to get the spins from every stream, but we're not going to spin the wheel every single stream. But smash up that like button. Every 100 likes still gets you guys a spin on the wheel of pain and pleasure, where we give away a ton of crypto, some Frankie Candles hats if we hit 550 likes on tonight's live stream. And sometimes we even give some free memberships to the premium Discord for 1 free month trial. So smash up that like button, guys. And shout out to Golden for gifting those Frankie Candles memberships. You absolute legend. Just dumping those memberships on the Mafia. Look at all the green names in chat. Spam that golden emoji if you just got access. And with all that being said, guys, we got Anna Maria in the chat. Of course, we got Golden. Let's see. We got Jixer. What is going on? He says, yo. What's going on, brother? Thank you for tuning in. We got Nabil in the chat. We got Low-Key Feta, not to be confused with your boy, Low-Key Feta, Low-Key Cheddar. Shout out to you, bro. Shout out to Nicholas. Shout out to Coin Watcher. We got Rockton Road getting one of those memberships. Shout out to Crypto Wanderer. Shout out to you for getting that membership. Mike Bennett in the chat. JB, guys, we got our mods. I just muted myself by accident. Crypto Anon, Captain Kirk, D Petty Crypto, Tyler Durden Chemistry, bro. You guys know who they are. Crypto Billy, Crypto Anon. Did I say Crypto Anon? You guys know who they are. Show them some love in the chat. And shout out to Creighton C for that super chat. Said Danger Zone bounce. Are you saying you want to turn and burn, Maverick? Shout out to Creighton C. Thank you for the super chat, bro. Yo, you've been showing some serious love with these super chats, man, and I appreciate you, Creighton. And yes, we're going to be talking about that danger zone. What is that next key level of support that we're likely to hit? And if we lose it, I want to talk about some more downside we could potentially see. But with all that being said, shout out to Flight Vision says, wow, let's go. So much generosity out here. Shout out to Flight Vision. Welcome to the Candle Mafia, my friend. And shout out to Dave Digital. Speaking of generosity, just dropping the super chat, said Golden wants a gift. Premium Discord button. Yo, shout out to Golden. If we could gift our memberships like that to the premium Discord, I have a feeling we would have probably about 58,000 people in the kitchen. So shout out to Golden, shout out to Creighton C, shout out to Dave Digital, shout out to 12 Big, JP. We got Seth in the chat. And with all that being said, shout out to G Dub. He says, thank you, bro, for everything. Love being here, and we love having you, man. And I have a feeling you're gonna have a green name pretty soon. But with all that being said, guys, we got a lot of stuff to look at here on the charts. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. Let's get it. So, guys, obviously, I'm not going to really cover the super long term. I think it's very most people are aware we rejected the macro golden pocket. I think that TA is just like beat to the floor at this point. We rejected the golden pocket for many, many reasons. Now the question is, let's start off locally here, right? So we have this clear local volume profile that we were looking at for quite some time, right? Now we have finally broken down below this range, and we have closed this daily candle outside of the value area low, letting us know that we have indeed been getting accepted underneath this range. So we have now left this area of balance, and there were many reasons why we were looking for this move down. I'm not going to go over all the reasons because we look at it every single day, but it had a lot to do. It had a lot to do with the liquidity right here sitting at this exact level at about 39.6, right? So we knew we had, a lot of these liquidations and likely stop losses are sitting below the range low from here. Not only telling us that if we come down, we could see a quick liquidation to the downside, but also understanding that this would likely act as a magnet for price. So obviously, that's why we were looking down here, and guys, we simply got exactly that, right? We came down, we got those liquidations to occur. We took a look at that on XO charts yesterday. We indeed did get those liquidations to take place, and this was kind of our next major level of support or local level of support, where we have these two naked daily points of control. And if you watch the live stream for any amount of time at any point in the past few weeks, you will know that we've been looking at these naked points of control as our next level. If we did break below these lows, that would be kind of the next level we'd look to get a bounce on. And simply put, we have come down and bounced right off that second naked point of control. However, we are potentially seeing some signs of weakness here that could be pointing to some even lower prices if we don't wind up getting a strong bounce here. Now, obviously, guys, there were some things that we were looking at on the chart yesterday as I think the thumbnail read, bearish signs appear, which is not just us feeling bearish and dropping these thumbnails and titles that say bearish signs appear. There really were some bearish signs. A lot of them were lying on market cipher A, where we were seeing some 2-hour yellow X's starting to pop up. This was kind of one of the big things that were making us expect a bigger move down. And even stronger than that, guys, we also had that 16-hour yellow X printing. This is kind of the real bearish signal that I was technically referring to in that thumbnail. And these yellow X's, guys, oftentimes show manipulation in the market, typically on the selling side. So when you see these yellow X's pop up on market cipher A, oftentimes you will get a drop to the downside. We talked about this a little bit yesterday. Oftentimes these will come in twos, where the first one gives you a significant move down. Sometimes you consolidate a little bit or get a retracement, and then once that second X pops up, that is usually where you get the next big move to the downside. Now, no guarantees we get a second yellow X here, but that's just typically how we see it play out. And this was just, one of the things making us anticipate that we were eventually going to break those lows. And I want to be clear, because anybody who's new here, or even if you've been watching the show for quite some time, I think these things can help you predict the moves coming before they happen, just like we did with this. Now, again, we understood there was likely liquidity below these lows, signified by that liquidation chart letting us know that hot block of liquidations was sitting right there. So not only are we just theorizing that there's liquidity below these lows, but we also see it on the heat map. And then when you have a level of support just below that, sometimes what you see is a liquidation into the key level and then a bounce. And that may be what we wind up seeing here. But again, I don't know if I'd have high hopes for a big bounce to come in here, and we'll talk about exactly why. And it does actually have something to do with the yellow X. But again, liquidation levels down here would act as a magnet. The MPOCs also tend to act as a magnet for price, and just the idea of those stop losses sitting below made it very likely that we would come down to these levels. And then the yellow X's on top of the money flow crossing over into the red, not only on the 16-hour, but also on the 12-hour, and the daily money flow is just continuing to roll out. And remember, the money flow indicates the longer-term trend, guys. So when that money flow crosses over into the red, it is indicating that we are likely to get a continued downtrend within the context of the time frame. So here for the daily, even if we do wind up getting a bounce here, I am being very careful with the longs. Took a little scalp long last night, wound up getting stopped out, obviously, but I took that trade understanding the risk, right? We didn't get all the confirmations that we were looking at or that we typically look for to enter these long positions, so it was simply stopped out at a small loss. However, if we do see a bounce come in here, guys, because of the money flow coming out on the daily and the 16-hour and the 12-hour, etc., this is kind of where, I am going to be a little bit cautious, right, to get into some big long positions, right? I am actually more expecting, what do we expect when we see this money flow coming out like this? Well, because it indicates the trend is likely to continue to the downside, obviously assuming that the money flow actually crosses over into the red, but understanding that indicates that the downtrend will continue, we are going to be expecting these bounces to the upside to potentially be lackluster before just coming up, putting in a lower high, and then continuing back to the downside. And we're going to be talking about those top levels of support in just a second. And some of them are new, some of them are we've been looking at, but I want to talk about not only where we could be looking for the support, but why we could potentially get down there. So again, any move to the upside, I am going to be looking for lower highs. We could talk about the key levels of resistance, but obviously, guys, if we get a move up here, the value area low of the previous range is obviously going to be a big level to watch. I don't want to say obviously, but this is going to be kind of like one of the next key levels to look at for resistance. And simply put, it is just the value area low of this previous range. Sometimes when you get ejected out of a range, you will come back up, retest the value area low, or even sometimes that POC before putting in a lower high and continuing to the downside. Now, we've seen things like this happen on coins like XRP, where we actually wound up leaving the range, coming back down, testing that POC before getting another bounce, and then we actually did wind up, I guess we were looking at this yesterday, we were expecting to fill this wick, which I'm now seeing for the first time that we actually did wind up getting down there. But I just want to show that because oftentimes you will come down, even on, I think, ICP, we saw something very similar, but in the opposite direction, right? So what we saw on ICP was simply, is it the Coinbase chart? Yeah. Is it the Coinbase chart? I believe this is. But on ICP, we saw a very similar thing happen, except it was actually from the opposite direction, right? So instead of getting ejected out of the value area low and then retesting the value area low as resistance, we actually broke out of this value area high right here and then came down and tested it as support before getting another push to the upside. And a lot of times, even if you're going to continue higher, we can see that actually wind up happening. So coming back over to Bitcoin, that is kind of where, some of the key levels that I'm looking at for a potential rejection. So just being very careful on these pushes to the upside, expecting them to be lackluster, to eventually roll over, put in a lower high, continue the move to the downside, and then at that point, we would be looking for the confirmation of our money flow on the daily crossing into the red, giving us that confirmation that, hey, this downtrend's probably going to continue. So that is kind of what we're looking at on that front. And, again, we are getting the reaction off our next level of support. This is why you don't want to miss the live streams, because we were ready with these levels from like over a week ago. But again, not seeing all the confirmations we like to see here for a strong bounce, right? Now, coming down to some of the lower time frames, a couple of things have happened here, right? We've lost 40K, clearly. We've lost 40K. That is a big psychological resistance. So naturally, guys, that is going to be another level you want to keep an eye on as we continue back to the upside, or if we continue to get this retracement to the upside. So $40,000 even, or just simply put, right here, this wick low, this is kind of, this is where we were expecting those liquidations to occur. This is where they did occur. But this level here at, between $40,181 and about $40,000 even are all going to be very, very, very clear and significant levels of resistance, right? Because, again, if we get up here towards that $40,000 level and we start rejecting, that is likely going to continue our downtrend. Now, if we are able, you have to understand, not only have we been ejected out of our value area, but we've also been ejected out of the entire range, right? Because, although we do look at this, I do call the volume profiles ranges because they are, but you have to understand, right? You kind of have two ranges here, and this is anytime you're looking at a volume profile. And your true range is essentially, right, when you create a range, this is how I would mark it out, right? You have your range high right here, like if you were in bar replay mode, you have your range, I'm not going to go into bar replay mode, maybe we will. Okay, so you have your range high right here and your range low right here, right? Actually, I guess your range high would be technically here. But basically, you have your actual range high, your actual range low, and then you have the value area, which is actually in the middle of these two levels, right? Which are typically what we like to look at, right, for trades. And then as the price action decides to, or continues to develop. Let me extend that POC to the value area to the right. And then, you can see here, we remain within the value area for the most part. When we deviate, this is where we look for shorts. And then when you deviate from the low, that's typically where you look for longs. But we have not only been ejected out of the value area, guys, but we have also broken down from the actual range, right? The actual, not just the value area, but the actual full range, being this wick low right here. So in my opinion, unless, for me, I am waiting for lower, right? I am looking for lower prices to come in, and we're going to get into exactly why I am looking for that. But in order for me to kind of anticipate a potential long entry from here, I'm really not willing to get into a big long position here expecting to come up higher, right? Not that we can't bounce up here, but not strong enough for me to take a trade. What I would rather see is a potential reclaim of Ideally, a reclaim of the value area, right? But we could also see a reclaim of the range low here at about $40,181. And this could also be a potential sign of strength as long as we see other things happen, right? You're going to want to see, you're going to want to see higher lows coming in here as well. And then once you start reclaiming, even if you wound up coming over the value area low and coming back down, as long as you're able to put in those higher lows, you could potentially look for long positions. But for the most part, guys, I have to be honest, I am waiting for lower, and it has to do, again, not just with the money flow, because obviously that's a big factor. Money flow coming out, crossing over into the red. Like this basically does us well almost every single time, right? Like just about every single time. Most notably in April, right? In April, we were able to anticipate this big drop to the downside solely based off money flow, right? Same thing with this move to the upside. My long position that I was able to get in down here at about $25,250, and then I eventually accidentally added to the position, making my entry closer to 28K. But one of the big reasons I entered that trade was because we had a bull div on the daily with our lower lows on our price action, higher lows on our momentum waves, with our money flow coming up. And then as I accidentally added to the position, which I actually thought I was getting into a different position, but I just added to the same long. But we had money flow crossing over, letting us know there was a high probability of this trend continuing to the upside. And it had everything to do with money flow. And we are simply seeing the exact same thing, but in reverse, right? As money flow was creeping up and crossing over into the green here, it was letting us know that this uptrend would likely continue, and we have to think the same way, but in the opposite direction. As we put in daily bearish divergences, it's almost the exact same thing that we're seeing, right? Higher highs on our price, lower highs on our momentum waves, right? Money flow coming to the downside. Down here, we had a higher highs on our momentum waves, lower lows on our price, giving us a bullish divergence, and money flow was trending to the upside. Now, once that bull div, printed, sure, we wound up kind of going up, but it wasn't just up in a straight line, right? We came up, we retraced, we came up, we retraced, and then it was off to the races. So it's not just that it indicates an instant move to the upside, but it oftentimes indicates that the trend will continue just like we saw here. So we're simply just kind of reverse engineering that same technique and looking at the same thing here. So not only was that how we were able to call or predict a potential big pullback here, but it's how we're going to potentially predict a bigger pullback if it continues down to lower prices. So there you go. Now, because of that, on top of the yellow X's, there's some other reasons why we could potentially come lower, right? And we can pull up, and here's another reason, right? Let me zoom out a little bit. You can see, typically, when you come down to these liquidation levels, if you do not get a reaction, you may be going to hunt extra liquidity. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that we are definitely going to come down to this level, but we've been looking at this for a while on the show, and that is this area down here between about 55.4 and about 52.4. Right in the middle of that is $34,400, right? Or kind of towards the top. Like this big chunk of liquidations is confluent with some very key levels on the chart that we'll take a look at. But I want you guys to notice that we actually have a pretty big lack of liquidity between these two levels, right? So if we continue down, it is not impossible. And again, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but if these moves down continue, this is going to be a very, very big area to look at. But we are going to be looking at one other level that is a little bit higher than this that we could potentially see a bounce from. But if things actually go like pretty south, this is kind of a huge, huge, huge level to look at for more than one reason, and I'm going to look at that right now. So as you guys know, I've been looking at the markets in a few different ways, right? We have our overall macro volume profile, and if you guys are new here, this is probably going to be the saucy part of the stream that you want to pay attention to. So you guys know, we look at this macro volume profile from the top of the bull market, as well as the local value area from this little area of consolidation right here. This is very important because this is, again, just looking at the charts in terms of volume profiles, guys, like what happened here? We talked about this the other day. Bang your head on those value area lows, and if you're able to flip it to support, that's your doorway to higher prices. And what happened here? We filled that entire range all the way to the value area high, where we typically look for shorts. Now, on top of that, once we deviated from here, this was just another reason to look for a move off that golden pocket back to the downside. However, we have now been accepted back into this local range. And once you get below that value area high, Creighton C, let them know, and any of the other CandleMafia members that know the answer to this question, when you get below that value area low, where is the next likely place for price to go? Exactly. Shout out to, there we go, Anna Maria, the first one in there. Let's go. The POC. Once you get below these value area lows, it is going to be more likely to come down towards that POC. And well, look at where we are getting this reaction from. We have come down straight to that POC, and this is where we start to get the reaction. This is not by mistake. This is not by chance. This is because we have, on top of other levels, this was a point of control that we've been keeping our eye on, right? And shout out to Laviu. Shout out to Golden said, whoops, keyboard switched. Shout out to Golden. But yeah, COQ, shout out to Crypto Naughty. Hey, don't be naughty in there, Crypto Naughty. But, this was, once you get below that value area low, you're looking to get down to that POC, and where do we go? Straight to the POC. Now we're getting a bounce. However, here's the thing, right? We also have the value area low, and this, in my opinion, is kind of the next level that I would be looking at because for a couple of different reasons. Number one, we have the value area low. And once you lose the value area high, you're looking to go to the POC and eventually the value area low. Typically, it doesn't happen instantly. Typically, you get some noise in the market, right? Maybe you get a little bit of ranging, but eventually you are going to look for that move down to the value area low. In my case, right, or in my opinion, this is typically where is going to be the higher probability trades, right? The shorts are going to be higher probability as you deviate above the volume profile because remember, this is the fair price for Bitcoin. So when you deviate above this level, it's looked at as expensive, and you got a lot of people trying to short it back into the fair value, right? Same thing when you come below. This could be considered an undervalued Bitcoin, and if the buyers and sellers have agreed that between 37.5 and 44K is the fair price for Bitcoin, and you could catch it on sale here, it may be a place where you could be looking for a long to ride it back into the fair value, which again is between the value area high and that value area low. Now, just simple volume profile theory there, but there is another reason why this is an interesting level, right? Number one, if we pull up the monthly levels, you can see we have a nice monthly level right down here, just below that value area low. And on top of that, we actually also have a, let me see, where do we have it? I think it's in, well, I'll just pull it. But we also have a significant golden pocket sitting here as well, guys. I believe it is pulled. Whoops. Let me adjust that real quick. And I'm sorry, not a golden pocket, but a 786. I believe it's to this wick right here. But yeah, nice confluence here on that value area low. And even if we were to pull some lower fibs, even if we were to start all the way from all the way from this impulse down here, you do have some good support in this cluster of consolidation. But really, guys, what I'm looking at is simply, the multiple levels of confluence we have here. The 786, and we looked at this yesterday, right? You have the 786 value area low. You also have the monthly level backing you up just below. That is coming in closer to about $37,000 even. I believe, yeah, about $37,075. So this is going to be a very, very, very key level in my opinion. I believe we have some weekly levels down there as well. And we have some daily levels as well. So a lot of confluence down here at the low of the range. And as we like to do on this channel, guys, I like to keep things very, very simple, right? I don't like a cluttered chart. And simply put, knowing we have the Fibonacci level down here as well as the value area low and simply viewing the charts in terms of ranges, this is the next likely place for price to go if we are going to continue to the downside. And to be honest, just looking at your market structure, right? Like just looking at structure here, I will hide the range. Like where would you be looking for structural support here? Simply put, you're going to be looking right here, right? Where you're looking for just straight support to, where you're looking for resistance to turn into support, right? So this on top of being the value area low, is this starting to come together for you guys? Like you see all the confluence here now, right? And I'm sure if we looked at this as a volume profile, your value area high would be up there as well. But we can't extend it to the right. There we go, right? And look, your value area high is just above, just right there on that exact same level. So, many reasons to be looking down to this level, and this is coming in between about 30, I would call it between about 37.9 and about 37K, right? So I would kind of make this a zone. So 37.9 all the way down to about $37 even, because remember, you do have that monthly level down there as well. And, the fact that we have these key levels definitely going to be an area that I would be looking at. And once we get to the level, guys, I'm going to the charts. I'm looking at the order flow. I'm checking what is going on at that level, right? We are level to level traders. So we set the key levels. As price approaches, we check the level, right? What are we seeing? Are we seeing a lot of shorts closing? Are we seeing a lot of longs open? Are we seeing any kind of bullish confirmation to actually enter into a long? If not, we sit on our hands or take a small stab at a scalp like we did yesterday and simply get stopped out at a small loss. But this would be kind of the next level that I would be seriously looking at for a long position. But even that, right? Even this level, in my opinion, isn't the sauciest level. There is a lower level that is a little bit more, important in my opinion, but there is no guarantee that we're going to come down and see that level get tapped. But it's simply put, looking at the liquidity, guys, the next key area is closer to $34,000, right? All the way down to about $32,400. Now, again, this is a little bit harder of a level to reach in my opinion, but we have to be ready because we don't know. We don't know. Price is not at our next key level yet, so we can't analyze the action and see if we're going to hold the level. So we have to anticipate that there is at least a chance to break this level and come lower. And understanding, looking at the bigger range, the more macro range here, right? Not only do we have the point of control here, but we also know that liquidity is sitting right in this zone. And what do we know about liquidity? It acts as a magnet for price a lot of the time. No guarantees just because you have a lot of liquidations that price will definitely get down to that level. And I want to be very clear about that because I think there are some people out there, even some influencers, that are just going to look at the heat map and say, oh, well, down here, 23K, there's liquidity, so we have to go get that, right? But the problem with that is, guys, you could go back as far as you want. There's always going to be liquidity that hasn't been taken, right? Because if you go to the 2-year chart here, actually, I don't think we're going to. Yeah, like we have liquidity down here below the bear market lows. But if we don't break the bear market lows, like that liquidity is just going to sit there. So there's no, otherwise you could just look at the chart and be like, I'm not buying Bitcoin ever again until we take the liquidity at 15K. But you're probably not going to see that level again. It's the same thing with the CME gaps. Very high likelihood that they get filled. However, I think some people think that they are guaranteed to get filled, and it's simply not the case, right? That's why we have the key levels, and we analyze the price action as we approach them. But simply put, guys, there is a fat chunk of liquidity sitting down there at 34.4, and in the grand scheme of things, I mean, serious liquidity down there, and in the grand scheme of our macro range, it lines up perfectly with that point of control, which again, just like we were looking at the smaller range like this, you reject the high, you go to the POC. What could we potentially see happen here? We've already rejected the high, which was perfectly complement with that macro golden pocket that we were watching, and could we be on our way to the POC? Well, there's no way to tell. However, we understand that there's a high probability that if we continue lower, like this is probably the level that we're going to be hunting out, right? Because of all that liquidity sitting there. And just based off the volume profile theory, we are simply going to be looking at that level. And, to be quite honest, let's pull up the VPVR because I like to deliver on these thumbnails, right? Because I don't just make clickbait thumbnails like, danger zone, must watch this level. And then we don't look at a level, or a key level, right? This is the exact thing we were mentioning in the thumbnail, right? Let me go ahead. Actually, I'll just leave these blue, ignore these blue lines, guys. This is the value area high, POC, value area low, POC, value area high, value area low of the volume, of the visible range volume profile. But just ignore those levels for a second. But you can see here, guys, very key levels to hold, right? Like we've already kind of slipped this little high volume node here. You can see we have a significant volume gap here. This was another reason why our sights were set lower if we did break this range, because we knew that we had this volume gap. And typically you see quick moves through those volume gaps, which is exactly what we saw here. But now we're getting a little bit of a bounce. However, your next highest volume node, where is it sitting? It's sitting right here at about 37.5. What is also sitting at 37.5? Turn that off. Turn this off. Your value area low of your more local range, right? Perfect confluence here, right? Which isn't, they're both derived from volume, right? So it's not that uncommon. But look at the confluence on the top of these candles here. Structural, value area high, and the value area low of your local range. A lot of confluence to be sitting here. And we know we have the 786 sitting there as well. However, if we drop lower and we come to 34.4, this is going to be the next very, very key level of support. Again, not only because it is our macro value, our macro point of control, but if we wind up losing this level, guys, and we start hitting this level and we break below it and cannot get back above, this is what is going to open up the door to potentially revisit the value area low of the macro range at about 28,794, which I am not calling for. I want to be very clear. I am not saying, oh my God, the charts are saying that we're going to this price. That is not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is if we do wind up seeing this POC visited and we lose this level and things get crazy, if you guys have been keeping an eye on the news, like the regular news, which I typically don't do, but there's some pretty crazy things going on right now, and a black swan is becoming more likely and more likely, in my opinion, as the days go on here. Now, I'm not trying to fearmonger here or anything. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But, I'm not trying to fearmonger, but, these are things we need to potentially prepare for, right? So if we lose that level, this is that danger zone. Look at the thumbnail. It says danger zone or danger here, danger level. Whatever it says, this is what I'm talking about. Because if we lose this POC, guys, pulling back up that visible range volume profile, simply put, look at the gap. Look at the gap. When you have big moves up, oftentimes you will see quick moves down. So we come down, bing, bong, bing, bong, bing, bong, and we start losing this POC. We are 100% at risk of falling through the low volume gap and coming down to our next significant shelf of volume, which actually sits right here, sitting at about 32-ish K. Now, the funny thing about this level is not only is it your shelf of volume, and guys, by shelf of volume, I simply mean you have low volume, low volume, low volume node, right? Or volume gap, volume gap, volume gap, high volume node, high volume node, high volume node, shelf of volume. The shelf of volume, or ledge, as some people like to say, is simply talking about where the volume significantly picks up, right? So just think about it. If I were to drop a rock from here, where are we going to land on? Boom. You're going to bounce right off that ledge of volume, right? And then if you jump off of it, you're like, maybe you stick to the edge, but if you lose that ledge, you're going to fall to that next high volume node. This is kind of how the volume profiles can work, or how price behaves with these levels. So if we lose this POC, very likely that we're going to fall through this low volume gap, and just like we got that quick move up, we could see a quick move down to about $32,000-ish, which is very funny because it is our next key level, right? Because not only do we have the ledge of volume, but we also have our structural. Let me pull this up real quick. Let's see, macro levels. Must hold these levels, right? This is kind of where we have the, oh my God, mommy, hold me level, which is simply right here. You have your 786. You have your value area high of this previous range that we were trading in for what felt like forever, and your POC is up there as well, and then your value area low of the macro range is coming in at 28.8K. So if we do wind up getting a bigger move down there, this is going to be where I would be looking for very, 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 very important support. Because if we lost that, then we're probably going to go back down to some crazy levels. Now, again, if we come back down to like the sub $25,000 levels, guys, I do think a crazy black swan would have to come in to get us down there. And you never know what a black swan might be. It could be some kind of an illness. It could be some kind of a rogue hand with nice painted fingernails, nice and blue. And you never know. Sometimes those hands smell really good. Hello, Mrs. Candles. Mrs. Candles just left me. Okay, well, thank you. I guess her boss wanted me to read a book here. But guys, wow, the hand! Shout out to Cisco Kid, Dave Digital spamming those Frankie Candles hands. But this is, guys, this is what we're looking at, right? Very, very sound TA here, in my opinion. It's not oftentimes that we get clean TA like this. And, it's just in beautiful confluence with all the volume profiles that we've been looking at. And again, this, in my opinion, is, if you guys remember when we were looking at the apocalyptic situation for Bitcoin, I do think that, the $30-ish thousand level, $32,000 level is not impossible here, because even if we did come down here, I still wouldn't be losing hope for Bitcoin. It's not like I'm going to get mech. Look at the Mrs. Candles hands in the chat. Guys, I will say, low-key smelled like cotton candy today. They were just like, oh, God, I feel refreshed. I feel refreshed. Mrs. Candle's just out there eating cotton candy all day. But let's see. Yo, shout out to Retro Mike. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, brother. I wouldn't be surprised if that were the case. Yeah, this is true. Yes. Well, if we get any kind of swan, because we don't care. just any kind of swan. We might get those birds might show up. Shout out to the high bird family. But anyway, guys, this is not going to make me flip super bearish on Bitcoin, right? I am simply going to be looking to load up my spot bags if we are lucky enough to come back down here. But lots of confluence to get support at this level. And if you remember the apocalyptic situation that we were looking at, talking about, hey, like what happens if we go ahead and retest that macro 786 like we did in 2019? Just real quick, this is what I'm talking about. Once we rejected the macro golden pocket that you guys know at this point, you guys should be familiar with this. We ran up in that bear market rally, rejected the golden pocket just like we did right here. And as we came back down, we got that black swan event, which was March of 2020. I think we all know what was happening there. And as we were coming up or coming back down for that retracement, we came down to that macro 786 when pulled from your bear market low to your bear market rally high. Now, that same Fibonacci pull from the bear market low all the way to the bear market rally high gives you your golden pocket sitting just below that value area low. So just in general, guys, I would honestly say between 27.6 and 32K is going to be very, very significant macro support, right? And if we do come down there, simply put, I am looking for long positions. And if it played out exactly like it did in 2019, which is not guaranteed, I want to be very clear. But if we did see it play out exactly like 2019, we could potentially even come down to that 786, getting closer to about $23,000 with a potential panic wick even lower before closing that candle above that 786. Again, very similar to what we saw happen. I don't know how that got deleted, but very similar to what we saw happen in 2019. Now, again, I want to be very clear. I am not, like right here, I am not calling for a $23,000 Bitcoin. I am not even calling for a $30,000 Bitcoin, right? Again, that next key level is sitting at 37.7, and then 34.4 is that next major level. But if things get really ugly, these are the levels we're going to be looking at, right? And more focused on this value area low, closer to $30,000 to $32,000. Definitely not out of the cards, in my opinion. Shout out to Mark Dutch. Thank you for that super chat, bro. I appreciate you. He just said, I just want to ask Retro Mike if I could take Randy out on a date. Mad love. Shout out to Randy. Randy, I think you got a secret admirer who now just became public. Shout out to Mark Dutch. I support you in your romantic journey. Shout out to Mark Dutch and Retro Mike. But let's see. Yeah, Bitcoin getting a little bit of a bounce here. But nothing really that crazy. But again, guys, these are the key levels, and really that POC is that danger zone, 34.4. If we were to see that level, which is not guaranteed, we lose it. That's where things are going. I mean, you could imagine the panic, guys. If we start falling through that low volume gap, you can imagine the panic that will ensue, right? All the bears are coming out saying, ha ha, you morons, I told you 8K was coming. And then, that's typically what we see happen, right? And then as soon as we're at, 49K, the bulls are like, see, told you 100K. And not only the bulls got wrecked, but also the bears get wrecked as well. So you got to be humble. The market will humble you if you are not humble. Let's see. Shout out to 2K, said, oh my God, Frankie Candle's account just sent me a friend request on Discord and told me they'd make me a millionaire if I gave them $6,000. Shout out to 2K. Thank you for bringing this up, guys. These scammers are in full effect. I will never, ever trade for anybody other than myself. This is, I don't even trade for my family or my friends. This is not, the scammers are out there. The AI video scams are out. The AI advertisements with, hello, I'm Elon Musk, and I'm going to give away 100 Bitcoin to everybody in the world. Like, these are all scams, guys. Any Frankie Candles account you see reaching out to you first without hearing me on video say, hey, Creighton, I'm going to DM you later. And even if I do DM you, I'm never going to ask you for a seed phrase. I'm never going to ask you for money. I'm never going to ask you for anything except for a place for me to send you free stuff. So any scammers reaching out to you guys is 100% a scammer. The names are almost identical. I do not have NFTs. I do not have any meme coins. I will never be associated with any of that. It is a problem waiting to happen. You're never going to see Bing Bong token. And if you do, or Frankie Candles coin, you'll never see that. And if you do, I have absolutely nothing to do with it. And it's definitely going to be a scam if you do see it. So just be careful. The scammers are in full effect again. The attention has come back to crypto, and they're out there trying to take your money. Do not let them don't let them do it. And there's only so much we can do when we report these scammers, guys. They're like weeds. You pull one out, and 100 more pop up. It's impossible to keep under control. We try to report as many as we can. If you guys ever have any info on anybody trying to get a scam through in the Discord or on the YouTube channel or anything like that, please let us know. We try to do our best, but there's really not much we can do about it. So just be careful and just save yourself. If it's too good to be true, it's definitely not true, right? So just keep that in mind. If anyone says, I'm going to make you rich if you give me $100, I'll turn it into $1 million, they're definitely lying to you. And guys, even if your favorite influencer, and you can certify that it was them, if they said, hey, give me a bunch of money and I'll make money for you, red flags should still go off in your head, right? Like, even if I DM'd one of you guys and was like, hey, if you give me $100, I'll trade it for you. I want to make a cool video. Like, you shouldn't do it anyway. Don't send anybody money. Like, protect your capital, guys. This is very important, especially in crypto. Don't click links. Don't do any of that. But there you go. Quick little divergence off of the live stream to warn everybody of the scammers. But let's continue on here. Unleash the mafia on the scammers. Yeah, actually, that's a matchup they do not want. But anyway, guys, with that being said, these are the key levels we're looking at. And again, if things get super ugly, those are kind of the levels that I'll be looking at for multiple reasons. And again, not going to be surprised if we wind up coming down to some more of these local levels of support. Remember, more locally, like maybe today or tomorrow, going to be looking at the value area low at 37.7, right? And that's our first next major key level. And there's also other confluence with this as well, guys. Like, you could just see, zooming in here, right? High volume nodes, right? Just based off of how volume works, right? Once we fell through this low volume gap, right? And now we're starting to get a bounce off this ledge of volume. And guys, look where we bounced off of, right? Let's hide the TA. Look at where this wick came to, right? Right here on this ledge of volume. Right here on this ledge of volume is exactly where we bounced from, right? So if we break this level, just understand that, when you're in a volume gap, price likes to cling to high volume nodes, right? This high volume node right here this is why price was stuck here, right? Because we had a lot of volume. We had a lot of interest at these levels. I can hear the chat going already with this drawing. Calm down. Calm down. It was just a circle, guys, not a hot dog. But, price gets stuck to these high volume nodes. And then when you fall through the low volume gap, that's where you see the quick moves down. And where is price going to get gravitated to? It's going to get gravitated to the next high volume node, which is the next place where you would look for a bounce, right? Let me find an example here, right? You come up, you come down, you bounce off this high volume node, right? You continue up, right? And this is how price interacts with these high volume nodes, right? And you will find resistance on the high volume nodes as well. So, again, if you're in a low volume gap, you're either going to get attracted back to this high volume node or this high volume node. So you're either going to get a retracement potentially into some of these higher prices, or potentially even more likely, you'll continue through the low volume gap into your value area low, which has confluence with this high volume node. Does that make sense? So many ways to look at these levels. There's tons of confluence. There's even more confluence than what we just went over. I'm not going to spend time going over everything, but these are the levels we're looking at and what I am expecting price to do next. And then just one more thing before we jump on over to the altcoins. I just want to let you guys know, VWAP on the daily, kind of just bing-bonging around underneath the VWAP, underneath the zero line. Once we get the next green dot on the daily, I think that's where the significant retracement comes in. Because obviously, just like you don't go up forever without a retracement, you can't go down forever without a retracement either. So when that next green dot prints on the daily, that is likely, in my opinion, where we're going to see the bigger lower high come in. So let's say, we print a daily green dot right now, which doesn't look likely. But if we were, this is where I would expect, the next significant bounce to the upside. Any other bounces that we get without that green dot are likely to be something like that bounce or something like this bounce. But once that daily green dot prints, that's probably where we're going to get the bigger move to the upside, in my opinion, where I would simply be looking at the next likely place for a rejection, which would be this value area high at 43,900, or this Fibonacci zone between the 786 and golden pocket between about 46,783 and 44,900. So there you go, guys. Those are all the key levels. That's what we're expecting out of Bitcoin. Long term, looking for the continued downtrend. Short term, looking for a potential bounce to come in, which we are just continuing to see a little bit of right here as we continue up. Let's see. Shout out to Pastrana. Said, Frankie, send me 2 Bitcoin and I'll send you 4 back. Shout out to Pastrana. Hang on. Hang on, a YouTuber just told me not to listen to people that say that. Whatever. I'll take my chances. You said you'll make me rich, right? That's what I don't know. It's pretty crazy too, because the scammers are getting clever, guys. They're getting really, really clever. So just be careful. I will never ask you for money. I don't. Again, I don't have any NFTs or any meme coins or anything like that. If someone says, "Hey, Frankie Candle's here. Check out Candle Coin," it's a scam. 100% guaranteed. And yeah, ask me in chat, and I will answer you through video. And you can't even trust video. I could be a deep fake. Deep fake. Anyway, let's see. Hey, all right. Let me check the super chats really quickly. Let's see. And guys, if you want to see your favorite altcoins, spam them in chat right now. Rob the Crypto Snob will count up the votes and let us know which ones we're looking at. I just almost ate the microphone. But spam up those altcoins. And let's see here. Shout out to Crypto Pollo. Shout out to you, bro, from one farm animal to another. Shout out to Crypto Pollo. Says cluck cluck. # givers gain. I love. Love to the Mafia fam. Shout out to Crypto Pollo. Hey, bro, I miss you, man. I hope I get to see you soon again. Shout out to Crypto Pollo. And Dave Digital said, thank you for the super chat, bro. He said, didn't go yesterday, went hard today, on track. You? Shout out to Dave Digital. On track, baby. On track. Shout out to Dave Digital. Definitely on track. I'm just kidding. Shout out to Dave. But yeah, don't check on it, Dave, but definitely I am on track. Shout out to Dave. Golden said, Frankie, say wee again. Shout out to Golden. Wee! Shout out to you, bro. And I'll give you a little goat. I'll give you a little goat as well, because we all know Golden's the goat. Let's see. Mark Dutch said, I just want to ask. Oh, shout out to Mark Dutch. We already read that. And Retro Mike says, one day, I hope I'm rich enough to send money to faux Frankie Candles and maybe hire a ninja assassin to deal with Mark Dutch. Shout out. Guys, you guys are hilarious. You guys have like relationships in the chat. Not relationships, but you guys have like debacles in the chat. It's hilarious. But shout out to everybody who super chat. I really do appreciate you guys so much. I'm not just saying that. I genuinely mean that. You guys keep us going here on the Frankie Candles YouTube channel, as well as Golden. Golden literally funds this YouTube channel, basically, apparently, with all the memberships that he gives. And shout out to Creighton C. Says, at Dutch, I just talked to three Randys in Discord, and they said yes, they love you. They love you long time. So all good. They sound like me. Legit Randy kept asking about your wallet and crypto. Totes her. Shout out to Creighton C. That goes for any creator, guys. Shout out to Creighton C. Don't get fooled here. Randy definitely has scammers as well. But let's see. Shout out to Crypto Pollo said, wee, is the crypto version of Ric Flair's. Woo! Shout out to Crypto Pollo, man. You guys crack me up. Golden is Satoshi. Crypto Chronic, definitely a possibility. And yeah, spam up those altcoins, guys. Rob, let's do like 3 requests if you don't mind. Shout out to Rob, one of the goatiest of all goats. Let's see. Shout out to Jungle Boy. Says, Trader Geo talks highly of you. Hey, Jungle Boy, I appreciate that. And with no disrespect, I don't know who Trader Geo is, but tell him that Frankie Candle says, hey, shout out to you, bro. Thanks for the kind words. He sounds like a pretty legit guy himself. I'm not going to lie. But shout out to you, bro. That means a lot. Rob said I mind. Okay, Rob, just give us however many altcoins you want. You're the boss. But let's go ahead and take a look at Ethereum here, guys, really, really quickly. And you can see, right? Still looking at the same levels on Ethereum. And as you guys know, we approached this value area low as we put in daily bearish divergences before we got this push to the downside, where I'm not going to lie, I was genuinely praying for this. Not praying for this, but I was really banking on this, right? Because, this is a very bullish level to flip to support. So the fact that we have cracked this level and come back down again, if we are able to find some bullish confirmations within this range, right? Our next 3 levels of support were the value area high, as well as the golden pocket PLC confluence. And then just down here, we have a 786 value area low confluence, which is kind of the saucier level in my opinion. We kind of just front ran this very, very slightly, but front ran this just slightly. no guarantees we come back down to it, but, I would like to see this level actually tapped before looking for a fresh long position. We have to remember that the daily money flow is also coming to the downside on Ethereum. So if we are going to see more downside for Bitcoin, we could potentially see Ethereum likely follow suit to come down, back down to some of the lower levels here below. And if we pull up that heat map and we go ahead and pull up the Ethereum heat map, let's run the 3-month chart here. Let's see. ETH is the #1 meme coin. Shout out to E-Rock. Let's see. Shout out to Adil. Said also, do you think the Mount Gox release could be the reason we move down further? Potentially, it could assist, but the real main thing that I'm looking at is liquidity, and just structure and key levels, right? But that could easily. Here's the thing, Adil. It totally could be the reason that we come down. It could be adding to the sell pressure for sure. But here's the thing. I will say this. I don't really. I'm paying attention to the liquidity and the key levels and the volume profiles. I don't necessarily care what brings us down there. I'm just simply looking at the charts. And that's just me, right? I am a strictly technical trader. I don't really care much about the story or the narrative. I'm simply looking at the charts. And oftentimes, I already know the news. I already know there's going to be some kind of news. I'm looking at that key level that's up higher. All of a sudden, there's some random bullish story that comes out, and we hit the level. Meanwhile, I had no idea. I was not following the news at all. I just expect that key level to get hit for certain reasons, and typically, the news just magically winds up to line up right with that. It's the magic of the manipulation. Magic of the markets. Anyway, I love my job. It really is crazy, guys. Like, show me the charts, I'll tell you the news every single time. And you got to wonder, like, why does this happen, right? But anyway, shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob. Thank you for getting those altcoins in for us. I appreciate you so much, bro. Pinned indeed. Shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob. Thank you. Let me get a happy birthday in chat for Rob. Everybody, wish Rob a happy birthday right now. He's crushing it. And it's his birthday. He's working on his birthday. Shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob. Shout out to you, bro. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I don't really necessarily care what moves the market. I'm just looking at the key levels, and then whatever the news happens to be, that's what it happens to be a deal. So that's kind of what I look at. But it doesn't mean you can't pay attention to the news. Please. I just want to be clear. That's not what I'm saying. Please pay attention to the news if you want. But just for me personally, I'm looking at the key levels. But Mt. Gox could 100% have a reason to do with the selling pressure for sure. But as a trader, it's not really of that much interest to me. But shout out to Adil. Great question, bro. Okay. So, yeah, there we go. Happy birthday, Rob. Let's go. You guys are funny, man. All right. So, continuing on here, on Ethereum, right? Looking at our heat map. This is Bitcoin. What happened to ETH? Run that. So for Ethereum, guys, very, kind of similar situation. Next key level of kind of hotspot of liquidations is sitting here at about $2,000 even, which without even looking at the chart is going to line up almost perfectly with our is going to line up perfectly with the $2,000 psychological level of support. And then, if we wind up pulling our next little cluster of consolidation here, you can see your POC coming in at about $2,025. This is kind of the next level that I would look at because, again, you have a lot of – let me pull the heat map back up. You have the next significant cluster of liquidity is sitting right there. And then below – 1850, guys. We can't escape this. We can't escape this key level. If you guys remember 1850, hey, shout out to Jake. Jake says Solana, please. We could take a look at Solana, bro. But I do just want to let you know. You asked for a coin the other day, and I don't know if you were in chat. We did go back and look at it for you. It was like at the end of the stream. But shout out to you, Jake. I just wanted you to know we did not forget about you last time. But shout out to Jake. We could take a look at Solana. It's actually next on the list, so we'll take a look at it next. Thank you for the super chat, bro. I do appreciate you. Thank you for being here. But continuing on, right? That 1850 level was a very key level of support that we were looking at for quite some time. And 1850 is going to be a very key level to watch, right? And if we pull... Let's pull some volume here. Let's pull this. Let's see. POC at 1850, right? This is a very key level. So if we get a bigger breakdown on Ethereum, these are the key levels I'd be looking at. And let's just go ahead and label this as POC value area low, value area high. I'm not even going to label them. I'm just going to put levels there. So you can see these levels were respected on the way up. flip it to support, to the POC, rejection, over the POC, right to the value area high. So if we come back down 1850, this POC is going to be a very, very big level to watch. And actually, I wouldn't even look at this as support, but I would simply look at this as a level of liquidations, right? So let me get these actual range here between about $2,000 and $2,050, right? So I'll grab a box between 2,000, where are we at? 2,000 and 2,050, right? We have some licks, right? Oops, let me just, liquidations, right? So we have liquidations here. So what does that mean, right? Well, that means that if we break down, if we come back below this range and we're unable to find a long entry and we're not going to continue back up and we are indeed going to lose this range like Bitcoin just lost its range, we could potentially come down, expect a liquidation event to occur, in which case your value area high is the next key level of support, coming in at 1920. So between 1920 and 1850 are the next key levels of support. Understanding that we have liquidations sitting right here. So we have to be ready for that reaction, right? Let's see. Shout out to Sunny. Thank you for the super chat. Said, I opened a 50x BTC long at 38.6. Shout out to Sunny. Let's pull up Bitcoin real quick. 38.6. So let's see here. All right, well, there you go. That was a great entry. Shout out to Sunny. Great entry into that trade. Let's go. Shout out to you, bro. Bing bong. Counting the money over there. Shout out to Sunny. Let's see. Stairway Life said BTC bottom is in. I mean, potentially. Not that we can't bounce off the POC. But I wouldn't be shocked if we see that those lower levels get hit. We'll have to see what happens. We'll have to see how the price develops. Let's see. Drinks on Sunny. I'll have a bottle of Louis the Yo, let's go. Shout out to who said that? I'm my hero. Shout out to I'm my hero. Sunny, hey, we're going up. We're partying on your dollar, bro. Shout out to you. All right, let's continue on. Let's continue. All right, so Solana. Let's take a look at Solana. Are we clear on ETH? Is everybody clear on ETH? Right, these are the key levels and key not levels, but key areas of interest to keep an eye on. But let's take a look at Solana. As Solana's breaking down, it's going to zero, guys. Actually, we are coming down to our key level of support. And oh my God, guys, you can't make it up. You can't make it up. 786 value area low wound up being the level that we were looking for. Now, if you guys have watched the show at any point in the recent future, recent future, shout out to TradeMade. Shout out to AZTV said it's all over. Sell the bounce. It's going to zero. Okay. Back to the future, baby. That's right. I knew he was a time traveler. Shout out to Joseph Gilbert. Sol going to 67. TradeMade, I thought that was going to say zero. They should be like, Sol's going to zero. What do you say, 67? Definitely not a bad level to watch, bro. I'll break that down right now. Actually, I agree with you. But let's see here, right? As you guys know, we were looking as Solana has gotten a bounce not only once, twice, 3, and 4 times off our golden pocket POC confluence here. You guys will know that I was saying that I wouldn't be interested in a long position here because we are in the middle of a range. And when you get below the value area high, you're looking to go to the POC, and then you go back to the high, back to the POC, back to the high, back to front run the POC. And once you reject that value area high, guys, you are eventually waiting for the value area low to get hit. And this was one of the big reasons why I was saying not necessarily interested in a big long position here. I would rather wait for the low of the range to come in. And here we are, sitting at the low of the range. Shout out to the volume profiles, guys. Like these things are absolutely OP. For any boomers out there, like me, OP means overpowered. I need to be taught that. I needed to be taught that. I'm just kidding. Anyway, but here we are at the value area low where we had that 786 confluence, and look at the respect on that 786. Close the bodies of the candles right above it, and now we are getting another bounce to the upside. If this retracement continues, which wouldn't be impossible with our 5-hour green dot confirmed, 6-hour green dot printing, 8-hour green dot looking to print. If we see this retracement continue to come in here, the next key level that I would be looking at would be just based off the volume profiles, again, from the high to the POC, eventually down to the low. Once you hold support on the low, your next likely spot for Solana to go is going to be that point of control, right? Just playing the range here. So now, again, or not again, but important to note that this money flow is coming to the downside. So not necessarily, this changes the way I would be handling the long trades at the bottom of the range, right? Now, if we had money flow creeping up, looking to cross over into the green, I may be looking to load up a swing long position on Solana, expecting a very big move to the upside. However, or at least expecting it to fill the rest of the range. And actually, if we pull this up, I think I actually just hid that long position, right? This is why you do not want to miss the Frankie Candles live streams, guys. Not that you should ever just take these as trade setups. I will openly tell you, these are not trade setups that you should take. These are just simply analysis to be fed, just to give you guys so you don't have to do the work, right? And these are just simply showing you what I would be looking at if I were to look for a trade, right? Or a long at that level. And we showed this for many days on the live stream last week. But it gets boring, right? Because when you're looking for these trades, I think a lot of people just want to get into a trade, right? They're not interested in waiting for a specific level to get hit. They don't want to sit on their hands. They just want to get into the action. And that's not how trading really works, right? It's a game of trapping, not hunting, right? So instead of forcing a trade, instead of forcing a long position up here and then getting it absolutely wrecked, I felt much better waiting for this level to get hit. Now, I want to be very clear. I didn't take this trade, right? But I don't typically trade Solana unless it's on my small account that I'm trying to flip right now. These are setups that we put in here, right? Just waiting to come down to the low, look for the confirmations. Whether we got the confirmations or not, we would have to go back down and look. I'm not going to spend the time. You did get some some exaggerated bull divs down here. But it just goes to show the power of the volume profiles. Low probability long level, high probability long level, right? And as long as you understand that if you do take a long at this lower probability level, you can trade these levels, right? But you have to understand the context. If you were looking to long this, you totally could have, but you have to understand that it's riskier. And you have to anticipate the likely scenario is that you will come down to the value area low. And you might have to wait a few days like we did recently, but you could see high likelihood reaction right on that same level that we were looking at. And it is playing out, right? And to kind of find further confluence, if you are looking for scalps in these smaller ranges, simply just trade it as a smaller range, right? Like wait to deviate below the value area low, and then instead of looking to ride it up to $100, just look to ride it up. Well, I guess this is technically $100. I should say $1,000. Just look to ride the local range. Look to go long below, right? Find your confirmations, and then expect to come to the POC and the value area high. Just be very conservative, and then that way you're making money on these little scalps, and then when you get the bigger breakdown, you could just fill the bigger position. So there you go. But anyway, key level hit, right? So I would expect potentially a retracement to the POC. Let's see if we have any confluence here. Pull the, I would look for a pullback into this like golden pocket POC area. Basically this blue box, I'm just going to change it to purple, for resistance. But this is what I would look for. Just look for a pullback up into this, back up into this golden pocket POC. All right, let's see. Okay. Now, if we do break down lower, shout out to TradeMade. I believe that's who said this. Said Solana to $67, and I don't think that's unlikely, right? Not that I don't think it's unlikely, but I wouldn't argue with that, right? Because if we break this level, let's pull up the VPVR, visualize where the volume is, right? Because in my opinion, it's kind of the easiest, most simple, like, what is it like? I don't want to say logical way to look at the markets, but it's like, I'm a very visual person, right? So you could tell me like, oh, well, if you look at the 0.362 and the Fibonacci extension, the TPOC, like if you just said all these words to me and I didn't know what any of it was and I was still learning, I would be like, okay, this is too much, right? I'm a very visual learner. So I like to think, hey, probably a lot of other visual learners out there as well. And when you look at these volume profiles, this is another reason I love the VPVR. It's very visual. Right? Like you could say, hey, like it makes a lot of sense to me. If we fall down, what happens if we hit this? We're probably going to bounce off it, right? And then what happens if we fall into this low volume gap? We're probably going to fall through it because it makes visual sense. Like I always say, imagine dropping a ball. If I drop the ball from here, where's it likely going to stop? It's probably going to stop when it hits this shelf, right? So with that being said, that $67 level is this significant shelf in volume right here. Right, so if you break down, I would definitely look at this volume profile if I were trading this. Look for acceptance below that value area low. Look to fill the range, and then as you deviate from the bottom of this range, I'll even mark this out, right? That's your value area. and then you have your high, your high, your POC, and your low. I know these levels were just slightly off here, but I just want to get it done quickly. So I would look at this as a volume profile, get below the value area high, look for a move down to the low. As you deviate from the low, look what you have here, right? You have a little gap. So if price comes down, I would look for something like this, a bounce, acceptance to the POC, to the low, and then as you deviate from the low, right here at 66.50, you do have a shelf of volume, right? So that $67 level makes a lot of sense in my opinion, right? Because if we were able to get bullish confirmations down here, not only do we have the volume confirmation, but you also have the deviation from the value area, and it just makes a lot of sense, right? So I actually don't hate that level, TradeMate. I think that is that's actually pretty sound. And if you pulled some fibs, I wouldn't be surprised if you had some a 786 or something down there of significant importance. Let's see. Where do I want to pull this from? Yeah, kind of a weird fib pull here, to be honest with you. Let's go to the 4-hour. Yeah, kind of a super weird fib pull. Yeah, I mean, you do have a 786 right here at 66.84. Pulled from a wonked out low here, but you do have some Fibonacci confluence there, 66.84. So not impossible, but those are the lower levels on Solana I'd be looking at. But again, we looked for that long down here. Not that I took it, but I would be expecting a potential continued retracement up into these key levels. All right, let's see. Shout out to Golden. Golden, can you please come to the front of the class, please? Shout out to Golden for gifting those Frankie Candles memberships. You absolute GOAT. You absolute legend. Everybody has a dang membership. It's out of control. Golden, please come to the front of the class. You're getting extra credit. Shout out to you. I'm kidding. Don't fire me, Golden. Golden, I don't know what we did to deserve you, but we're super dang happy we have you. All right, let's see. Shout out to everybody. Spam those golden emojis if you just got a membership. Golden, we talk about you a lot, bro. You just blow our mind every single time. Like me and Tony will just be like, dude, how about Golden, bro? How is that guy such a GOAT? Shout out to you, man. And Mark Dutch says, shout out to Golden. Took the words out of my mouth, Mark, so I appreciate you, bro. But let's go ahead and continue on here. Yes, Solana continuing to push. How's Bitcoin doing? Let's check it. 39.7, creeping towards that $40,000 level. Remember, right now, guys, $40,181 is that next real level that I would be looking at. And then again, 40K going to be a significant level to watch. And then again, if we want to see, for me to not really expect, or for me to kind of feel safe looking for a long, I would want to flip that $40,000 level, right? Basically this range low here. If we don't do it, I mean, you could even reject some of these higher levels. You have to remember you have the value area low just above that. So just because we flip 40K does not mean off to the races, right? Because we can come up to 41 and just reject this value area low. But we are approaching some kind of significant resistance here. So just be careful. But anyway, let's continue on here, taking a look at SEI. And shout out to TradeMate. I saw you said thank you. No problem, bro. That is why I am here. I'm here to help. So shout out to TradeMate. And have fun on a live stream here. We're not all business here on the CandleMafia. I mean, come on. Shout out to Ayo Doe. Hey, Yo Doe. Shout out to you, man. He says, I want to be like Golden when I grow up. I'm 37. I want to be like Golden when I grow up too. I'm 31. Fun fact, guys, Mrs. Candles had to tell me the other day that I'm actually not 32, I'm 31. I just tell people I'm 32 for some reason. Shout out to TradeMates at SEI, please. Hey, you read my mind. Real quick, guys, I got to take a sip of this. I'm going to charge up the Andromeda-bound alien scam water here. Look how satisfying. I don't know if you guys can even see that. I can't see the screen right now, but look how satisfying that is. Look at that. Look at that, guys. We're taking a break from the charts real quick. Look at how satisfying that is. Can you guys see that? Can you guys see that? Hang on. Oh, no. Come on. Focus. Well, it's super satisfying, guys. It's super satisfying. But anyway, back to the charts. Here we go. Shout out to Golden with the super chat. Somebody ban Golden. Tony D, ban Golden. He's giving us too much money. Shout out to Golden. He says, yes, boss. Am I in trouble? No, Golden. You got a medal. And actually, coincidentally, or ironically, the medal is gold. So shout out to Golden. But anyway, let's continue on here and take a look at SEI. And this chart's actually kind of messy. Let's see if we can pull up another one. Yeah, okay, so we'll look at this. This is the one that we've been looking at recently, and let's see here. Shout out to Jason Casper. Jason, what is up, bro? Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you for hanging out with us here. He says, 32 is much older than 31. Don't rush it, man. Shout out to Jason. Yeah, bro. It's actually funny. Like, I think I just, like, as soon as I turned 26, I was, like, freaked out. My 26th birthday, I was, like, upset. And like, and now I wish I could be 26 again. So I'm like over caring about the number. But yeah, 32 is much older than 31. Slow it down. That's what I was saying to Mrs. Candles. She's like, I was like, I'm 32 years old. She's like, you're 31. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I was like, whatever. It's just a number. But yeah, for some reason, I just like stuck to 32. But yeah, just for the record, guys, I am only 31. I'm still a youngin'. Shout out to Jason. I appreciate it for tuning in, bro. Thank you so much for the super chat. To Jason, what are you thinking, bro? Are you thinking? Are we super bearish? How low you think we can go? Let me know, bro. I'm curious. And shout out to Sunny, says XRP. Thank you for the super chat, bro. We can definitely take a look at XRP. Shout out to Jason, bro. Dude, shout out to you, man. Another $50 super chat said, I'm here to steal your TA for my stream tomorrow. Shout out to Jason. Jason, I'd be honored for you to steal my TA. Shout out to Jason Casper. He's obviously kidding, guys. But yo, dude, thank you for the super chats. You don't got to do that, man. I appreciate you, though. So, yeah, I don't know. Well, what do you think? Do you think we're going lower? Let me know. That's too funny, man. Let's see. Let's see. Yo, Frankie, where's your treadmill? Yo, Jason, yo, for real, bro. Yo, I mean, I'm not gonna be like, I'm definitely not gonna stream and do it. I'll probably fall. I'm not coordinated like that. I will fall on my face. But actually, bro, you do got me itching to get a standing treadmill as opposed to a sitting treadmill. You do have me itching to get a desk treadmill, bro. Cause yeah, I've been spending a lot of time sitting down at a desk lately. So yeah, I need some kind of physical motion, but yeah, shout out to Jason. I gotta look at I mean, what's the difference from the treadmill? What's the difference between a desk treadmill and a regular treadmill? Just the handles and stuff, like the big bars that come up. I can't imagine there's too much different. But yeah, definitely, I'm probably gonna invest in one of those very, very soon. All right, let's continue on. So as we are looking at SEI, guys, so obviously we had lost our range here. This is the recent TA that we did on SEI. And you know, broke down from the range. We are now getting very, very close to back testing that golden pocket or bearishly retesting it. And this fib did move down just a little bit. And here we are getting that golden pocket retracement as we speak. So, bada boom. Yeah, if we continue up here, you know, I mean, I would be very cautious of a potential pushback here. However, shout out to Tony D says, at Frankie Candles, desk treadmills are not rated for Tony-sized objects. That's the key difference. Shout out to Tony D. Wait, is there really like less of a... Oh, shout out to Jason, said, just a cheap Amazon treadmill. Dude, I'm going to do that. I have a standing desk, but I just sit at it. So if I had a treadmill here, I would walk a little bit. But dude, I don't know... Bro, I don't know how you do that while you live stream. I feel like I'd be like trying to look at the chart and like I would fall off it or something. I don't know. But you're like you're much more athletic than I am. That's probably a fact. Shout out to Jason, man. Let's see. Jay-Z says on the treadmill right now, Jay. I bet you he is. I don't think you stay ripped up like Rambo by not walking all the time, keeping that body fat at a very low percentage. Let's see. Notion is lotion. And check Jason! Dude, shout out to you, bro. Another $50 super chat. Says the treadmills have a max calf size limit. Yeah, 90% of my body weight is below the knee. So yeah, shout out to Jason. I'll have to find ones that are like specifically for what we like to call the fat calved. So shout out to Jason, bro. That's funny, man. Shout out to Jason. Guys, go check out Jason Casper. He's got awesome content. And you never know when you might catch him walking on his treadmill. Shout out to Jason, man. But guys, let's take a look here at SEI. As we've lost the range, I would be careful here as we are hitting the golden pocket. If we continue up, next key level I would look at for a potential bit of resistance is going to be the 786 value area low. Bada boom. Let's see. turn that purple for resistance. And then at that point, guys, you know, once we wind up, actually, yeah, we may be able to push up here a little bit. Money flow coming up on the 1 hour. Let's see the 4 hour. Yeah, kind of hard to say here. I mean, you got to be careful just because Bitcoin is pretty bearish right now. But if you continue up, guys, flipping that 786 would be significant for me, right? You get above the value area low. Once you start flipping the 786 value area low, if you could get bullish confirmations on the reclaim, maybe you could look for a move to the POC. However, if we come on over to the daily, you can see this is looking very, very, very similar to everything else with the daily money flow coming out, which could potentially call for more downside, right? And again, you have to be careful because we've already lost the key level, right? We've lost the level, and now we could just be coming up to bearishly retest. And with money flow coming out like this, especially on the 12 and the 16 hour, if we start seeing this continue out, that is kind of where, 8 hour just crossed over into the red. So this is typically where we like to look for lower highs to come in, right? This is where I always say, hey, money flow's crossed over into the red on the 8 hour. 10 hour money flow is in the red, 12 hour coming out, 16 hour coming out, and the daily coming out. This is what's anticipating a potential bigger downtrend to come in. And this is where I usually say, any move to the upside, I would expect to be somewhat lackluster before putting in a lower high and continuing to the downside. And we could potentially even get as high as the value area high right here at 79 cents for a potential rejection. Now, let's check where that golden pocket 786 is. Yeah, right. Whoops, I got the lock on here. Right here, golden pocket 786, value area high confluence. Bada boom. So that value area high I would keep as a significant resistance level. And also, golden pocket kind of in the middle of these two levels. You could kind of pair that with the golden pocket, but let me see here. So these are kind of the levels I would look at. 786, POC. Whoops. Yeah. So as we come up, we don't know where the lower high will come in if we're going to get it. But if we do get the lower high, if it doesn't happen there, next likely place is going to be the POC golden pocket confluence or 786 confluence that I just pulled, right? Yeah, 786 confluence. Bada boom. And then if it doesn't come in there, right, you're simply going to expect to come up to the value area high. And then once you take the highs, that's probably we're going to higher prices. But even if we deviate from the value area high, still could look for a potential short position to get the bigger breakdown. It all depends on if that daily money flow is going to cross over into the red or just kind of fake us out, come down towards that zero line, and then come back up into a bigger green wave. We do not know what's going to happen. That's why we have to prepare for either situation. So there we go. Let's see. Yeah, shout out to Sherry. He said, go listen to Piano Matty B after Frankie. Bing bong. Sherry, I agree with you. Go check out Piano Matty B. Are they doing something tonight? Yeah, shout out to Sherry. Are they doing something tonight? Maybe we'll raid them. Let's see. Bonsega says BTC will dump to having after that slow pump and real bull run end of 2024 or in 2025. Generally agree with you, bro. I generally agree with you. This could be the pre-halving dump, potentially. All right. Oh, guys, and don't forget to check out Crypto Billy's Twitter space, or X space. I'm going to say Twitter for the rest of my life. Go check out Billy Goat Tales on Twitter tonight at 9 p.m., guys. It's always a saucy space with a bunch of really cool people giving some real good information and just hanging out, spreading good vibes. So shout out to Billy. Go check them out. And Tony D, if we can spam that in chat. Or Billy, please shill that as much as you want. Pin it to the top of the chat. Do whatever you need to help yourself out there. I am happy to. There we go. Shout out to Tony D. All right, let's take out XRP and AVAX. I'm actually going to pin that for Billy. There we go. Billy, you're pinned to the top of the chat, guys. Go check that out. Shout out to Jason again for the super chats, bro. I really do appreciate you, man. You're crazy. Tony D says, my friend. I've been spamming it periodically. Okay, shout out to Tony D. I have like half an eye on chat. But let's continue on. There is SEI. And let's go ahead and check out next XRP. Let's get it. Shout out to Joseph Gilbert. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He said, if we combined Jason's shoulders with Frankie's calves, we would have the most elite TA soldier in the world. I have a feeling someone's probably on that right now in Photoshop making a bionic technical analyst called I don't know what we would be called. I don't know what we'd be like the jacked calf analyst. I don't know. But shout out to you, bro. Yeah, that would be a wild mix. It'd be unstoppable. Let's go ahead and take a look at XRP. And here we are, guys. It's going to 0. All right, let's check. We got SEI AVAX is next. I'm just kidding, guys. But I did pull up the wrong XRP chart. So let's pull up this XRP chart. So here we are, guys. I think, was it yesterday that we were looking at the thought of filling this wick, or was it the day before yesterday? It could have been the day before yesterday. Yeah, it might have been on the Sunday sauce. No. Well, either way, we were being very cautious of this wick getting filled because, as you guys know, sometimes they like to say, where it wicks, it goes. So, simply put, we were in no man's land on XRP here. Whew, man, I will tell you this, guys. Getting harder and harder. At this point, I have accumulated most of my XRP from before the lawsuit, so I've been holding my XRP bags forever. So at this point, like, I don't even really consider this, like, it's one of my bigger bags, but the money was invested so long ago that I feel like it's a moon bag, which is definitely not the case. But, if I feel bad for the people who've been buying into this and just seeing everything else go on a tear and XRP just continuously suppressed. Just unbelievable. I actually feel lucky that I accumulated so long ago because, again, it feels like a moon bag. Like, if this thing doesn't pump, I feel like that money's already long gone. And I'm not going to sell it right now. But, yeah. The kind of just lackluster within this range. Not much to really talk about here. We were expecting no higher prices until we broke the value area low, which is the doorway to higher prices, and no lower prices until we broke the value area high, which was the doorway to lower prices. Understanding, and hopefully anyone who is in here, and sees us talk about this daily, hopefully this stuff is starting to, like, you guys see it and you're like, oh my God, he was. And it's not because I'm the best analyst or anything like that, right? Like, it's just like, I hope people see this and like, oh yeah, that's right. He said if you get below the value area low, likely we'll see that POC. And then there it is. Like you can't make it up, right? And it has everything to do with the volume profiles that we teach every single weekday right here. So got below the value area high. We're down to the POC. So I would expect to kind of bing bong around the POC and the value area high. If we lose the POC, I will say, if we lose the POC, more specifically this value area low at 0.4933, I would look for then a bigger move to the downside, potentially targeting the macro value area low at 43 cents. Now, I'm not calling for 43-cent XRP, but simply put, it is just going to be that next significant volume profile level after we lose this point of control value area low of this local consolidation right here. So that's what I would be looking at. Other than that, not much to say here. If we break this level right at 49 cents, probably going to come down a little bit lower. Again, next key level at 43.4 or almost 44 cents. And then if we continue up, key level of resistance is your value area high. I would probably expect a little bit of bing bong action. If not, just waiting to crack this key level or this key level. These are your new two key levels, right? Like up here, if we cracked above this, that's where we expect higher. If we crack below here, that's where we expected the POC. Very similarly, but the levels move, right? This is now your key level of resistance. This is now your key level of support, which is 49 and 55 cents, about. All right, let's continue on. Shout out to Nicholas Darst. Says, looks like XRP is on vacation. Yes, definitely true. All right, let's see. Shout out to Ritz Beast Gaming. I thought that was Riz Beast. I'm like waiting for this guy to throw the Riz down. Shout out to Ritz Beast Gaming. Says, learning so much from you, man. Trust me a lot learning from you. Respect for you. Trust me, you are giving us such good knowledge, making us learn from YouTube. Shout out to Ritz Beast Gaming. I appreciate that, bro. That is the goal of these live streams. One of the main goals is to be educational and kind of give you guys the education and the answer to all the questions that I wish I had when I was going through the beginning of my trading journey. And shout out to the High Bird family. Shout out to you guys. Said Bitcoin bouncing right now. And here we are getting very close to that 40K level here, guys. Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Make it an NFT. Do you guys remember the chart art when I used to always draw random lines, and we used to turn them into NFTs, but we didn't actually turn them into NFTs. We just said that. But yeah, here we are approaching that key level right here. Remember, guys, the next key level, in my opinion, right now, 40,088. We flip that level, we can look up to the value area high, low. We flip that level, then maybe, I would still be leaning a bit bearish, but it would be, significant for a potential local move back to the upside. But again, this doesn't really change any of my bias or anything like that, but we are getting a nice little bounce here. Not too bad, not too bad. Shout out to the High Bird family. Dropping the birds in chat. I love it. All right, let's see. Let's continue on to AVAX, and let's take a look. Ladies and gentlemen, the volume profiles. I'm just kidding, but not really. Look at the respect on these things, guys. This is, where did we even get this? Hold up. Where did these levels even come from? Hold up. Hang on a second, guys. What is going on here? That's where it came from. Okay, so let's come down to a lower time frame. Man, oh man, oh man. I'm not even going to lie, guys. This is actually pretty wild. So, a lot of the questions I get are, Frankie, where do I pull the volume profiles from? Now, there is a method to the madness. And there is technically, I guess, a right and wrong way to do it. But for me personally, guys, I will snipe a volume profile from a small area of consolidation from years back, and it might be a 2-day range that I'm pulling, right? But I don't know how to explain it. But here we are, right? Let's take a look at this. So I pulled, as the next key level of support, I think we're actually looking at this on the way up as well. This little top right here, if we zoom in, you could see that we actually did have a little bit of consolidation here, right? And let me, right? We actually did have a significant bit of consolidation here, right? So that is where this range is pulled from. And, this is all the way back in August of 2022. And come back to the current price action. Not only was this a value area low, a.k.a. doorway to higher prices, as we hit our head, flip it to support, we fill the range, right? We actually blasted right through it. But, just to kind of hammer home these strategies, guys, on the way back down, this is going to be your key levels, right? And if you come down to a lower time frame, you could see not only when we came up to it, did it act as resistance before breaking us out to the value area high, which we interacted with the value area high, right? We didn't just smash through it. It's not that like we were looking at this as a level of resistance and then we just blasted through it and we're saying that we filled the range. These levels are all respected, right? We actually interacted with the value area high. These are not imaginary levels. Now, on our current price action, on the way back down, you would naturally be looking at this as a place where you would look for a bounce. Once you broke down below, you'd be looking to go where? That's right. Shout out to Creighton C. You're looking to go to the POC and then eventually the value area low, and you can't make it up. You just wick right down to that value area low, right back to the high, and another breakout, right? And this, my friends, is why we look at the volume profiles. It's like it's overpowered. And I don't look at every single altcoin every single day. So sometimes we come back on these live streams and I see this old TA where these levels were pulled from a while ago, and we see them respected so accurately is honestly mind-blowing to me. Like I've been looking at this stuff forever and I'm still just like never ceases to amaze me. Like respect to the value area high, respect to the POC, tap the value area low, and then respect on the value area high once again, right? So for Avalanche, if we want to continue, next key level of, I guess this was really old. Yeah, because our fib was pulled from here to here, which means that the last time we looked at least this AVAX chart was in December, where this was resistance. So that is, we were looking at it on the way up and the way down. But shout out to Dave Digital. Said cut the show. Piano Matty B is live right now. Let's go. Shout out to Dave Digital. But yeah, this is if we continue down, right, I would just simply be looking to respect these volume profile levels. And if we break down lower than that, let me get rid of this. This is an old area. Where is this volume profile pulled from? Yeah, I believe that's pulled from right here. No? I don't know where this was pulled from. Well, I could re-pull that at a later date. I don't know if we're coming all the way down there. But, next key levels that I would be looking at would be, let me pull from this impulse to the high. Whoops. There we go. So he had a 786 down there as well. Let's go a little bit lower. This is the next area. If we break down further, guys, this is what I would look at, right? And again, it seems a little trivial. Like, man, you're just pulling that tiny little range. Like, what could this possibly do for us? Keep in mind, right? Value area high, POC, value area low. Next key level of support, in my opinion, 786, value area high confluence. Right there. Breakdown, that's the next key level I would be looking at. And then if you break below it, you now have context into the next areas to look below you for support. And not only that, but context into what price will likely do next. Because once you break below that value area high, you guys know what comes next. So, guys, with all that being said, I think that's all the time we got for tonight's live stream. Thank you all for tuning in and sticking around till the end. And shout out to Piano Matty B. We will be doing a fake out tonight, and you never know. If you hang out, you might get automatically dumped into Piano Matty B's live stream if you want to check out his is it dueling pianos tonight? Potentially? I don't know. But, guys, thank you all for tuning in. We will be back here tomorrow, same place, same time, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I feel like I'm forgetting something. It's weird, guys. Not doing the wheel every day makes me feel like I'm missing something, but we're not. So how many likes did we get? We got 353 likes. If we get 550 likes on the stream by the end, by the time this stream ends, we will spin the wheel 10 extra times on Friday. If not, mods, let's add 3 or 4 spins to the wheels on Friday. So thanks for the incredible TA, Frankie. Shout out to Moon Boot Boy. Shout out to Wick. Shout out to Trade Made. Stupid Bitcoin. We're going to turn you into Smart Bitcoin. Dave Digital, DJ Johnny. Shout out to Jason Casper, Golden, everybody who super chatted. You guys are the absolute best community I could ever work for. I guess I kind of work for you guys, right? But you guys are the best community I could ever ask for, and I will always keep coming up here to do that, do this TA for you guys for that reason. And with all that being said, I'll see you guys tomorrow. That's all I got. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, I gotta get a no call and quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way, cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all it is. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. My heart on my sleeve. Shield my greed. That's how I get it. Success ain't no given. Some days I don't eat, I don't sleep. When I'm focused, I'm dangerous. Down, wonder when I'm anxious. Ain't no limit till I tank. I'm running on fumes. The opposition don't amaze. The roads racing through the pavement. Get your hands out of my bag. I know that's because I've been in it. I don't need to brag. I guess that's what happens when you taking care of your business. But some family, you do the math. I'm out of my pocket. Houston, we got a problem. I ain't perfect. Let them watch me elevating. Got them nauseous. Cause I'm the pilot in the cockpit. Nose diving in the house. And woo. Watch out, get ahead. Watch out, get ahead. Watch out, get ahead. Woo. Watch out, set it up, bet you I shut it down, watch out, get a win. I don't think they really wanna come against the winner, got a finger run up in a grenade. I ain't never been there when you think you compare, I'm aligned with the winner about the cage. I need all the wins, yeah. Ain't no L's, I gotta get a no call and quits, yeah. Gotta keep on moving no matter how hard it gets, yeah. Better move out the way, cause I'm coming with harder hits. My head is as hard as a brick, but I'm harder than all it is. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. Better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out. You better move, you might get knocked out, knocked out.
Yo, what's up, Jason? Jason? Yo, what's up, dude? Dude, thanks for the super chats. You don't have to do that, bro. I appreciate you, though. You got in touch with a doctor? They'll do it? No way, bro. What happens, though? Like, are we just cutting my calves off? Or, like, are you getting cut at the torso? What's going to happen? He's going to send a mock-up? All right, bro. I'm down. If you're down, I'm down. I'll start pumping up the calves. All right. Let's go. We're about to take over. Shout out to you, bro. All right. I'll talk to you later, bro. All right, peace. This is going to hurt. Me and Jason, that was not Jason Casper, and we are not actually contacting a doctor to see if we can combine my calves with his torso. It's not the case. I'm just saying it's not the case. That was a fake phone call. But if it were to happen, they said they're sending mock-ups right now. So maybe we'll see a picture of what it'll look like. But anyway, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. We're going to drop you in Piano Matty B's live stream because we support good people on this channel, and we like Piano Matty B. So shout out to you guys. Have fun with Matty. That's all I got. Frank Candles out. Bing bong.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on a roll, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, man, we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't ever going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on a roll, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on a roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on a roll, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the